Almost no one realizes that humans are boundary beings, living in two different modes of existence at the same time. Misunderstanding this truth makes life feel empty and turns death into something terrifying. Let's uncover the facts.
Human knowledge of the universe has advanced remarkably far. We are no longer limited to understanding how life emerged on Earth, but are now able to trace the origin of the universe itself, from its beginning through its long process of formation to the emergence of life, humanity, and civilization. Scientists explain that the universe began with a tremendous cosmic event known as the Big Bang. From an initial state of extreme density and temperature, space, time, energy, and matter gradually came into existence. In the earliest moments after this event, reality was not yet structured in the solid material form we know today. What appeared first were the most fundamental entities, elementary particles, whose nature is surprisingly counterintuitive. These particles are not purely matter, nor are they purely energy. In quantum physics, they display a dual behavior, sometimes behaving like particles and at other times like waves. In this sense, these fundamental particles can be understood as early boundary entities, existing between two modes of being. Their particle-like properties form the foundation of the material universe, while their wave-like behavior suggests that reality is deeper than matter alone. Beginning with these fundamental particles, over time, the material nature of reality became increasingly pronounced. Matter organized itself into more complex structures until life eventually emerged on the surface of the Earth. Living organisms carry something that inanimate matter does not: internal instructions encoded within DNA. This information governs growth, reproduction, and the continuity of life. This marks one of the most fundamental differences between lifeless matter and living beings. According to scientists, life on Earth began with single-celled organisms, which gradually evolved into increasingly complex forms of life. As this complexity increased, new characteristics emerged, features that can no longer be understood purely as physical and chemical processes. Beyond the biological instructions stored within DNA, we begin to encounter phenomena of consciousness appearing in different degrees. In animals, consciousness exists in relatively simple forms, such as perception, responsiveness, and basic experience. In humans, however, consciousness reaches its highest known level of complexity, the ability to reflect upon oneself, to assign meaning, and to question existence itself. In inanimate objects, and even in most animals, material structure and function are tightly bound together. Their physical form directly determines what they can and cannot do. There is little room for flexibility. Humans are different. Human function is not rigidly determined by physical form, but by knowledge and skills that are learned and developed. A person may work as a farmer, yet through learning and practice can become a teacher, a trader, or pursue an entirely different profession. Such flexibility is impossible for animals. A bird cannot choose to live as a predator like a lion, nor can a bee decide to exist as a hunter. Their biological form locks their function in place. This fact reinforces that human beings cannot be understood as purely physical or material entities. There is another determining factor that cannot be separated, a non-physical aspect that enables humans to learn, choose, and transcend biological limits. This aspect has traditionally been called the soul. And here we once again encounter a familiar pattern. the duality of existence. Humans live simultaneously as physical beings and non-physical beings, united within a single reality.
When we look more closely, we find a striking conceptual similarity between humans and elementary particles. Both embody a duality of existence within a single reality. In this sense, elementary particles can be understood as early boundary beings, fundamental entities that exist between two modes of being, behaving as both particles and waves. Their particle-like properties form the foundation of material evolution, which, through an immense cosmic process, organizes matter into increasingly complex structures, eventually giving rise to the human physical body. In human beings, however, this long journey reaches a turning point. Once material evolution culminates in biological form, something emerges that can no longer be explained as material processes alone: consciousness, meaning, and self-reflection. Here, we witness a shift in direction, not a simple return to the non-material, but a transition toward a more mature and functional non-physical mode of existence, shaped by experience, learning, and choice. In this sense, human beings may rightly be called the final boundary beings, where the material universe does not end in itself, but is instead oriented back toward a deeper non-material reality. This understanding transforms how we view death. For humans, death need not be understood as an ending, but as a shift in existence, or perhaps the beginning of a journey into an entirely new form of reality. If so, then the most important question is no longer whether life will end, but rather, in what mode of existence will it continue?